Hello friends, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I am back with another video to give a review on another book, which is A Rune of Roses. This book is by K.F. Breene. My sister Sable jerked awake in the narrow bed beside mine in a tiny room. We didn't have much, but at least we had a roof over our heads. For now, anyway. Muted moonlight filtered through the threadbare curtains. And I could just make out her face turning to me. Her eyes large with fear. She knew what that cough meant. It's okay, I told her, swinging my legs over the edge of the bed. It's fine. I have more of the nulling elixir. We haven't run out yet. She nodded, sitting up and bunching the sheets near her. She was just 14, the age I had been when I narrowly survived the beast, only to lose Lena anyway. It was different now, though. Since then, I had worked diligently with a special Everlast elixir. I devised. It still didn't cure the curse's sickness, but it drastically slowed it down and nulled most of the effects. Because of it, and because I had given the recipe to the village and helped them learn to make it, we had only lost one person so far this year. If the winter would just let up, already, spring would help us revitalize our gardens. The plants mostly went dormant in the winter. in the winter, not growing many new leaves. The gardens in our small yards weren't big enough to sustain us if we had someone on the brink. There were many on the brink. My older brother, Henan, pushed open the door and stuck his head in the room. His red hair swirled around his head like a tornado. A splash of freckles darkened his pale face. Unlike me, the guy didn't tan for nothing. He came into two colors, white and red. He is deteriorating, Helen said softly when I was in the hall. He doesn't have long. He's lasted longer with the sickness than anyone else. And he will continue to last. I have made some recent improvements. It will be okay. I took a step toward father's room just next to mine. But my brother stopped me with a hand to my arm. He's on borrowed time, Finley. How long can this go on? He is suffering. The kids are watching him suffer. That's only because we are down to the weak, everlast leaves. As soon as the spring comes, it will be better. Hanan, you will see. I will find a cure for him. Got any new books in? I asked as a joke, running my fingers across the spines of all these glorious books. As a matter of fact, I do. She stopped by a little desk in the corner. And picked up a small stack of decently made paper. There were another three lying beside it. Our favorite author, wants to know what I think, why he wastes his time and resources on this is anyone's guess. He needs a different hobby. I laughed. At the next shelf, I ran my finger the down the spine of a history of our people. On impulse, I pulled it. From the shelf and set it aside. I might delve into that one this week. I hadn't read it for a while. Think it's any better than the last one? No, not the one before it. I give the notes, he takes the notes. It's basically the same. Over and over with the same issues. She dropped the paperback onto the table. It's unreadable. I'm not kidding. Why bother asking for my opinion if you aren't going to listen? I think he had rather you just compliment him. And help him behind it. Bah! She swatted the air. That's what happens when you meet a woman who is too supportive. You make a fool of yourself. At least he has a hobby. I looked upward to the top of the stacks to see if anything there caught my eye. I meant to tell you. Thanks for your help last month. Ernie is making a full recovery. I froze for a moment. I had helped her make the kneeling exterior for her mate, who was 10 years her senior. And had started the slide into sickness. He had some time, and with my help, he would have more of it, but the elixir wasn't a cure. I would told her all this, but Annie was her whole world. They had never had kids, and she didn't have any family left. He was it. If you lost him, she was alone. I didn't have the heart to set her straight. I am glad it's helping, I said softly with a pang in my heart. I needed to find a real cure. I had to. After selecting two more books, of renewed interest and grabbing my hate foxpot, I went home the long way. I didn't want to accidentally run into Jedrick or any of his groupie bros. Here, sir. Hadriel inched a little farther forward and then wobbled. He clearly wasn't sober. Compose yourself and then report to the tower room. Nyfain barked. You don't have to go, Hadriel. The Scubbers said, there is nothing he can do to you if you stay. There is plenty he can do to me, Hadriel murmured as he all but staggered in our direction. I pulled away from Nyfain a little and tried to look down his body. "What are you doing?" he growled, squeezing me to his chest so I would stay put. "Trying to see if you have an erection," he huffed, heading back out to the stairs and up. At the third floor, he turned into a lovely picturesque hall with arched windows along the left and stone on the right. Oil paintings lined the way, some with mustaches drawn on the subjects' faces, and occasionally a few tongues. Clearly, a few partygoers had gotten out of control. At the end, he ascended a small staircase that wound up to a single heavy door. The tower, most likely, he planned to stick me there. "I thought you were going to kill me," I said in a small voice as he put me down. Picking a weed is not really stealing, but your persistent trespassing warrants detention. Your sentence is for an eternity. Here is your cell." He twisted the key before pushing open the door. Darkness waited within. He gestured me through. But I fidgeted with my collar as I stared into the inky depths. "You're going to keep me in a tower?" My voice kept rising. "In a room that locks from the outside." Would you rather I throw you in the dungeon? Is there a third option? Like a slap on the wrist and public humiliation. He grabbed me by the arm and shoved me into the room. I staggered, fear rising to choke me. He took residence in the doorway, his massive shoulders nearly filling the frame. His body was built for power, and he had honed it with strength. Welcome to hell, princess. The door slammed and the lock clicked. I pounded on the door, jiggling the handle and yanking. Nothing. And if it weren't going to save people, I would tell you to shove your order up your dick hole. Surprisingly, he smiled. We aren't going to get along, Finley. My name in his voice flowed over my body. I shivered, now incredibly annoyed again. I think that was a given as soon as you took me prisoner, I replied. It was a given long before that. He worked his way back toward me. You say you need to harvest at night? Yes, midnight seems to work best. Have you tried 3 o'clock? That's when the demons are strongest. If you say the elixir works better when harvested at night because of their magic, then 3 o'clock would be the optimal time. I pulled my lips down in thought. Good tip. I don't really know much about demons. Then you didn't tangle with them in your village. He growled as though the very thought of me intimately touching a demon enraged him. I frowned, no clue why we had care. Maybe just an all-round hater of them, which I completely understood. No, I said, wandering the field and looking at the various plants. I wanted to choose the ones I had harvested from. Speaking of, does this place have an herb garden? I want to make the draught that nulls the incubus magic. What did you say that got his attention? I huffed out a laugh. Hadriel was excited to hear that as well. That and the coffee replacement. All this time on your hands, and none of you thought to experiment. I developed the demon draught almost immediately after turning 16. Those bastards came on strong. I didn't want to accidentally get caught out too late and run into one. What a thing to lose. I made a sound like yuck. Not all of us have the gift of healing. His tone was somber, with traces of sorrow, in a hint of pride. I glanced up to gauge his expression, but he had turned away, wandering the field. I glanced up to gauge his expression, but he had turned away, wandering the field. Right. Well, if you have an herb garden, I can make enough of that for everyone. If you want, whoever wants it, if there is enough supplies, obviously. His smile softened all the harsh planes and viscous, vicious scars on his face. He flexed his bicep. Me strong, hold water for smart lady. I laughed and stepped back as he walked. Step back as he walked, earning your keep then. I always had the grunt job as a kid. I was big for my age and lacked the natural dexterity to work the plants and healing remedies. My strength is in, well, strength, brawn, power. My role as a dragon male is to protect. And while I formed a brotherhood with the other dragon shifters through training and after, we were always at odds with each other. We were taught to compete. Can you handle that? I picked up the water bucket with 2 hands. Yes, thanks. He nodded, easily holding one bucket in each hand. like they weighed nothing. Meanwhile, I'd probably have to come back for more after I spilled half the contents of mine. We were taught to compete with each other for placement, to dominate each other. There was always an underlying hostility with us. The women working the plants, it was different. They always worked in harmony. They helped each other instead of trying to show they were better than each other. It was probably because I spent so much time with my mom. But I gravitated toward that mentality. My dad hated it. He called me weak because of it. His smile dwindled. He set his buckets on the table and reached down to grab mine. "And are you?" I asked. He poured the water into the first tray, and I went about reorganizing the leaves. Wait, I held up my hand when the water was at the right depth. Not too much. They don't like being too deep, like in a flood. Just enough to keep them damp. He nodded and worked on the other trays. I wasn't sure if he didn't plan to answer my question or just needed time, so I didn't press. "You leave these inside?" he asked. At home, yes, because I didn't have sawhorses. And I didn't want any wild animals getting to them or desperate neighbors stealing them or demons pissing on them. A backyard isn't as secluded as one might hope. As you know, since you invaded mine before kidnapping me. But they would do better left in the moonlight. That's about as far as I can push it, she thought, and I could feel her struggling. Wasting no time, she picked up the pace, light of step and agile. Even if she would have preferred to be on 4 feet. She jumped over roots that I might have stumbled on and avoided brittle bushes, crackling twigs that would have given us away. My hand reached into my pocket and extracted the pocket knife. She opened the blade as a drumbeat of adrenaline pounded through us. Something was coming. Ha ha ha, it sounded like a man's voice. After 100 years of cigarettes and choking on swamp slime. It wasn't laughing, the being was literally saying those words, as though attempting to fool someone into thinking it was both human and having a jolly time. Here we go. A distinctly human shape stepped out from behind a tree up ahead. It wore worn clothing poked with holes, and part of its scalp had rotted off. Jutting teeth filled its mouth, and the jaw looked unhinged. There is your zombie, my animal said. slowing just a bit as she approached. I wish I had 4 feet and claws. This would be so much easier. You might have to help drive. The darkness rushed in a bit, the shapes around us going fuzzy. It's a die bug, I bet, I said, images of demonic creatures running through my head. They are supposedly demons in the bodies of sinners. One wandered into our village when I was about 15. It was clumsy. I can handle this. I apologize for making fun of your well-readness. This makes up for it. I ran at it, knife in hand. He swiped when I got close, and I ducked under his arm. I apologize for making fun of your well-readness. This makes up for it. I ran at it, knife in hand. He swiped when I got close, and I ducked under his arm, exhilarated by the strength and speed with which I could now move. I stabbed him in the stomach. He barely noticed. I had expected that, though these buggers couldn't feel pain in the way a human could. Their bodies could still die, though. If only I had my dagger. I swiped his leg quickly, following up with a stab to the kidney, and then used both hands to drive the blade into the base of his skull. That would disable him until it bled out, which would happen quickly. A snarl sounded from the right before a large dog-like creature lunged. So this is all we have from this book. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to press the like button. And if you wanted to buy any one of these best-selling books, you can visit our Amazon page, Best Book for You. So I'll be back with another video with another book. Till then, just take care and goodbye.